Hello again. I've got the new cylinders on, but there's another problem I have to take care of. You can see right here, this where the cross pin comes through, this is hammered out over the years. Tractor and loader only have about 1,500 hours on them, but my fields are all real bumpy and I leave this on all the time. So this just hammering back and forth, sometimes with a load, just walled that out. This one's walled out too, but not as much. Now on the other side, over here, you can't see it, but there's already a piece of DOM tubing welded onto the panel, sort of like this. And the rod goes through and there's a pin in it to hold the rod in place. So to fix this, it's going to be a little tricky to line that up to make sure this hole is in the right place for this rod. Right now, the whole thing is out of whack because this can go anywhere at once, you know, because there's nothing to hold it in place. So I'll have to take it off, put it on the bench, run a bolt through this side or a rod, and line it up nice and square. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of DOM tubing like that. I'm going to burn out a hole just slightly bigger than the DOM tubing. I'll run that all the way through so it's flush with the back of the piece and weld it in from both sides. I'm going to do that here, and I'll take the other side apart and do that too. But I'm going to do that on the workbench because I'm not good enough with a welder to do this, and also with the plasma torch I can't have anything behind it, otherwise I'll damage it. Alright, so here's the piece, the bucket off. You can see the sloppy hole there. And you can imagine this thing flopping around like that, that's not giving me good control. And I was having trouble when I tried to hook the bucket up with the quick hitch. Anyway, that's going to come off, get filled in. So you can see on this side, the engineers put DOM tubing with a hole drilled through it to pin this pin. And that, when that's pinned on both sides, then that makes these things work in unison. You think that little 1/4-inch pin wouldn't be enough to do it, but that's what keeps them working in unison. And this sole purpose of this thing is to lock the cross pin in so it doesn't fall out. But it does pretty well. It prevented this from wearing. So this side is good on both gizmos, and but this side is walled out. We're going to fix that. Alright, the first step is to take this burr off. I'll take this one off. I might as well deburr this while I'm at it. Alright, so now, using one of the pins from, this is a pin from here. I'm going to try to figure out where the center of that hole is. And since this is a loose fit on the bottom and a real loose fit on the top, it's mostly by guess and by golly. Okay, so I just lay on the ring on there, mark it with paint. So no paint's coming out, there we go. Alright, so that was the very last of a can of paint. That's probably wasn't working very well. Okay, we have a nice painted ring there. Now I'll take a center punch and make a whole bunch of center punch marks there. That way when I burn it with a plasma cutter, I'll be able to tell where I'm at. Otherwise the paint will disappear as soon as I start using the plasma cutter. Now just take your nail set, mark around this painted circle. We're going to want to make the hole just a little bit bigger. Give us room to adjust, and we can fill it in with weld easy enough. Okay, so now I've marked out the holes with a center punch. Now I'm going to burn them open with the plasma cutter. I have to do this by hand. I thought about making a jig, but more than likely it would be pretty tough to make one that didn't interfere over here, so I'm just going to do it by eye. Alright, so now got the holes burned. Just knock the stuff out. I'll have to grind the slag off the back. A little bit of work with a rat tail file, or maybe the die grinder. I might have to get out the die grinder, and those will fit in there. Alright, some of you may have noticed that my holes are something less than round, but I can still make it work by grinding out the correct place to make this fit. So I just got to figure out where the best center place is. So here I've got to grind a little bit more on the inside. The other parts can be filled. Alright, that's pretty close. I just have to take a little skosh more off of there. I'm going to do all 4 of them. Alright, I have the holes ground out. Got a backing plate here so I can weld deep into the crevice and it won't come out the back. I sliced off 4 of these, beveled the edges, deburred the inside. I fitted this before and I know it's going to be tight into this corner. So all I have to do is tack it in place. Alright, so it's just a matter of filling it in now. Alright, here's one welded. I'd have to touch it up with the grinder, but you know, typical weld for me. I should get better as I go on though. I don't know if you can see it, but it's not filled in the back. I might try to weld that. It's hard to get in there and grind it though. Alright, they're all welded. Get the outside and the inside welded. I have to grind this off. I decided to weld it on the inside. I'm just compulsive, I guess. This can be hard to grind because I can't get in there. Here, you can see now we have more material here for these pins to ride on. Got 3/8 of an inch instead of 3/16. I think that's what that is. So it's got twice as much material to ride on. Yeah, that's almost a quarter. But anyway, should be better than a sloppy hole. Alright, so this is the loader. I'm getting ready to put the quick attachment parts back on, but first I've got to take care of some rust. These hydraulic lines were pretty badly rusted and starting to pit, and that's not what you want on a high pressure line. So I'm going to try to separate those and paint them and repaint this tube, repaint the end. I'm going to stop painting about right here. I don't have time to do the whole loader, but this is where it's really bad. It gets a lot of wear there. Everything's always rubbing up against it and brushed up against it. And these vibrate together and wear the paint off. So, I'm going to paint it. Alright, here's the finished product. You see where I built it up down here. On this side I could have added another 1/16 of an inch, but on the other side it's perfectly flush. Anyway, it's all spiffed up on the end. It came with 4 of these zip ties. 2 went under and 2 went over. I lost one. Actually, I broke it. I still have it. But I decided to do with 3 under and 6 over. These I got at Home Depot. Cost about $5 for 10 of them. I bet these are a lot more pricey at John Deere if you can get them. But anyway, I'm going to probably squirt those with paint because I don't know how UV resistant these are. A coat of paint will help it quite a bit. Oh, there it is, ready to go. Oh, one other thing. Right here, originally this had a pin in it of some kind. I don't know what it is, but they broke or got lost. I had bolts in there. That allowed for quite a bit of wiggle. That made my quick hitch parts work independently slightly. The one on the right is slower. This one gets the hydraulic fluid first, so the one on the right didn't move as fast and they would be working uneven. So I didn't have the correct size pin, so I drilled this out to 5/16 and put a spring pin in there. I'll get on where you can see it. Drilled it out to 5/16 and put a spring pin on both sides. So now it works in unison and there's no play on it. Trying to jerk it around. It's nice and steady, almost like new. All right, next project.